Hello and welcome to this Dove Dive, where you put me on to musics and melodies from the deepest, darkest dungeons of your computer disk. I'm the host, Joe Dove, and this week, James put me on to Blue Eyes. Hello and welcome back, friends, into another fray of the world of musics and melodies from artists unknown to me. That's right, welcome back to the Dove Dive. And of course, I'm the host, Joe Dove, and I gotta say, this has become quite a fun project. I'm super excited about this week's artist that James put me on to, and I am diving into Blue Eyes, but I just also wanted to talk a little bit about James. I met James off the Hi Ho app, and if you haven't done so, you should really download it. It's a lot of fun, and it allows people to share kind of like a TikTok, but more like a Reddit. You can have a thread of conversations, and it's very civil, unlike TikTok, so highly recommend it. And if you do decide to download it, make sure you find me. I'm Joseph M. Dove. I'll listen to all your tunes, and I'll mention you in this little pod. It'll be a lot of fun, and I'm sure you will enjoy the Hi-Ho app. This is not a sponsorship from them. I just enjoy it, and I believe it's my God-given right to share it with you. Well, let's get into it. James put me on to Blue Eyes, and she has been an amazing experience to listen to, but I just wanted to share a little bit about James before I continue. He has quite the interesting story. He comes from Florida and lives with cerebral palsy. He's breaking all types of stereotypes as a film graduate and an advocate for mental health. Also, he is a member of the LGBTQ community. James is absolutely inspiring and lifting up people on the Hi-Ho app, so I hope you follow him there, as I do. We've spoken a few times, and every single time I'm grateful to be a part of the conversation we have. He kicked it off with, "Who's your go-to artist?" And I chose, of course, Fantagram. Ha! I bet you were thinking someone else, especially Julian. When you listen to this, I'm sure you thought I was going to say someone else. But anyway, I got to tell you, they really have pumped me up over the last 6 years, and they've made a difference. So let's dive into Blue Eyes, shall we? So blue is not spelled like the color, it's spelled like the Viking symbol from King Harald, who was referred to Harald Bluetooth. Long story short, they merged the HB Norse runic symbols, which are like a B and an asterisk, and boom, Bluetooth. And her name, truthfully, is Katie Stump. She's from Los Angeles, and music is her life. At a young age, she sang songs with her dad while he played guitar. This later grew into her developing a desire for good music, and for her sweet 16th birthday gift, she was given studio time. It was this spark that began her epic journey into music. She got into the University of Southern California, where she learned to play guitar like Eric Clapton and vocal throws like Big Mama Thornton, which makes for a striking combination when you hear her music. It's truly fine-tuned. It drives me crazy, and I can't help myself but to listen to her work over and over. James really put me on to a good artist, and I appreciate it. So let's dove dive, shall we? Blue Eye. Yeah, so I got to tell you, this is a fun one. A lot of the information I got about Blue Eyes I found on the various interviews that she's done with various Los Angeles newspapers and music websites. I'll name a few at the end. But a lot of the music I discovered her about, of course, aside being on my favorite streaming service now, but also on her website. And she is very poetic. She writes on her website, and this is just an excerpt. If the eyes are the windows to the soul, and one's soul could be described as one's inner truth, then the inner truth we all so desperately seek stares back at us in the mirror every day. There is so much beauty to be found in the things we can't see, the things we have no desire for anyone else to discover. I really encourage you to visit her website. She has a lot of fun, and she's another one of those advocates for mental health that I think is ever so important in this modern age of coronavirus and pandemics. So, friends, 3 songs by this artist. I have chosen from a list of her singles, which are available on your favorite streaming site, but you can access them through her website. Number 1, If I Were a Friend. I'm going to read just a little bit of the lyrics. It's a little bit dark. If I were a friend, I'd know just what to say, to fix everything, to make it all go away. If I wasn't in my head, I could help me settle down, make all of this make sense, because it doesn't right now. Yeah, I feel like I'm a failure. I'm falling behind. I'm not good enough, and I couldn't tell you why. I can't seem to stop thinking it. Even though saying it out loud, it sounds ridiculous, but I'm still trying. This is a really good introduction. Despite her, this is a great introduction despite being her current single. Though it's a little bit somber lyrically in the beginning, Blue Eyes does something different, which I like. And it's that she sings before the instruments come in. I love how the guitar chords bring you on this walking build-up, joined by her backup singers later on in the song. Then a beat softly ebbs in. The song continues to build as well lyrically. It's truly a beautiful song. It seems like she's dealing with personal reflection and falling short. It comes to a moment when the song actually builds up to such a payoff, and you get this sweet lyric at the send-off at the end of the song. You get this really cool synth build-up in the middle of the song, too. It's something that I really like when artists do. You don't just get the same melody throughout. It becomes kind of bland. When you mix in so many different elements, it really stands out in my ears anyway. And I think you'll find the same way when you listen to Blue Eyes' track here. But the end of the song, after starting out a little bit somber, reads, I'm saying this as a friend. You're too hard on yourself. You're worth so much more than you give yourself credit for. And I know you know it well. I feel like this is almost a poetic way of saying to herself even, hey, you're doing a lot better than you think. You might not be, Beatles level, but you're really good. And people are acknowledging that. And I feel like that's what's happening with Blue Eyes. She's realizing her own value and where she fits into the greater cog of the cosmos. The next song I'm going to get into is Actually Happy. I feel like this is her overcoming a dark time in a relationship or just her own personal funk. And this song does the same for you, even for only for 3 minutes. I really love this song. It's one of those, if you heard on the radio or walking or in the mall, it would give you a little bit extra pep in your step. It's so and happy that it just makes you feel good. It actually makes you feel happy. That's what I got from it anyway. And it also makes this one of the most repeat listened for me. It made me happy. Lastly, the song Supposed To. This is by far the most pop song she has available to blissfully enter your ears. It's lyrically a bit of the social media throws, a breakup that it is musically brings a taste of the synth on guitar chord. Her voice is so pleasant and quite angelic. If my breakups were like this and this song came out of it, I would be really happy. It's rather uplifting for such a breakup song. Move over, Taylor Swift. I think this is something that she's covering in her own personal experiences and giving it a little bit of a more positive light. I use this song to wrap up my experiences, and it reminds me of one that would be used at the end of an 80s or 90s rom-com movie. Like after all the two went through and they finally got together and they walk off or drive off or, just run off into the sunset corridor or, down the pleasant streets of happy utopian urban life. This would be the song that would play. That's the best way I can relate it to you. It's really good though. And it should be one that you end up listening to most, maybe even more than Actually Happy. At least that's how it worked out for me. I listened to it a lot and it was a big standout, and I think you would really appreciate it because it's a nice blend of a nostalgic tune that pleasantly meets with her new chords. So definitely give her a whirl on your playlists. And speaking of playlists, if you want to check out the music that I'm talking about here, check out the Dove Dive playlist on YouTube. If you go to the Disc Dungeon YouTube, yes, we have that too. Disc Dungeon YouTube page, we will have the Dove Dives and music videos as long as they are available from some of the other artists that Julian and I were talking about earlier in the show. Julian is working on a larger list, and once we can confer on that setup, it'll be available to you. And I'm excited to share. All right, such a great artist. Don't you love when friends put you onto music that just actually makes you happy? Thanks, James. Well, that wraps up this Dove Dive. Join me next time as Clifford Moore puts me on to NF Motivated. It's time to get hyped up, friends. It's going to be a fun one.